Thank you for participating in our online effort.
Hello, this is Elizabeth and Elton Brewington. We are with Brightside Global Trade TV. It's an online streaming channel. And today we have with us an author, Joe Oswald, and he's written a book about the homeowner's guide to contracting, building, and remodeling. And let me tell you guys that this is really like an encyclopedia for anybody who's getting into remodeling their home. It's also the perfect time because we are starting our coverage of High Point Market, High Point X Design now, which is open year round, and then High Point Market, which happens in October, that attracts 75,000 designers and furniture manufacturers and homeowners and anybody that's doing remodeling. So this is really going to be on our top list of books that you need to get. And I think this is just perfect timing for us to have this book in our hands. So the book is available everywhere. We've done a review. It's available on our website, brightsideglobaltrade.org, in our latest issue. It'll also be on our market issue. And all you have to do is click and order the book, and you know what to do. Take a picture, tell us you purchased it, and then we'll give you 2 tickets to our next show. So over to you, Elton, and you can begin the.
Greetings, Joe. We're so happy to have you with us today to give us the fine arts. And your book comes at such an important time, I'm sure. Well, we're coming up at the end of the summer, but anybody who's had a personal home project that they're working on and would consider a contractor, this is a good time because they want to probably close those things out before the winter sets in. And I know Chicago can have some pretty brutal winters.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So in terms of in your writing of the book, tell me what I mean. I know it sounds like you've had your own share of problems and working out issues with clients. You know, the typical contractor or the typical customer probably looks at a project and they envision what things would look like and feel like with your expertise and your input with the environment. Tell me, what you're thinking and what you have a process, I'm sure. What process do you follow when you're helping to create an environment for a client?
Well, I took into consideration, the home that we worked on that's featured in the book it's a 1929 house in an historic neighborhood in Beverly. It's a Spanish colonial design. And it was a beautiful house, but it was old. It needed a lot of work. And like a lot of old homes, the kitchen wasn't very big. The closets and bedrooms weren't very big, but the rest of the house was beautiful and had some very unique architectural features. And we decided to put the addition on this house. I wanted to maintain the historic look of the house, wanted to maintain the architectural integrity, didn't want to make it look like we put an addition on the house. So I started with the way that I wanted the house to look on the outside, along with, a list of features that I wanted to have on the inside. And I worked backwards from that. Unless you're a multi-billionaire, it's hard to have everything that you want. So I kind of worked backwards and prioritized what we needed, what would increase the value of the house, and what would also increase the livability and make it an enjoyable place to live, and kind of prioritize things that way, and kind of designed everything with the final look in mind. So I always had a vision, and I tried to stay true to the vision as best I could.
So it sounds like you step into the mind of the client and, the homeowner, so that you understand exactly what he's going to be using his environment for, and help him homogenize it so it fits right into his lifestyle and game plan.
Absolutely. And there's so many things that I think the typical homeowner doesn't think about when they envision doing a big project. And I didn't want to leave any of the details out, because the devil's always in the details. For example, if you want to put in, a jacuzzi tub, you have to have an idea of what kind you're going to put in before you start designing, so you know where to put the drain. Some of the jacuzzi tubs have, have their pumps under the base of the tub. Some of them you have to mount remotely in a closet or under a floor. If you're going to put a steam room in, you have to know where the steam generator is going to be located. You have to have a water supply line there and a separate drain. And these are things that the typical homeowner would never think of, but you got to know these things going into it. Otherwise, if you have to change something along the way, it could mess everything up, and including your budget.
I understand that, because the structural elements of any facility or remodeling, I mean, if if there's no sufficient water line to put a jacuzzi bath there, then you got to construct a water line to it. I mean, and even the frame, if you want to put something like that on the second floor, then the structural elements of the house should support placing the jacuzzi upstairs. And so those are elements of, so I call it, and this is typical processing, you've got to create the conditions of where you're going with the structural reality of what is. And so, it's your job, I guess, to make sure that the client understands, or the builder or the owner understands the realities of their ideas, the realities of their ideas.
Absolutely. You have to work within the reality. And even if you have all the money in the world, there are still certain realities in terms of space or construction techniques or materials that you have to work, within.
Sure. That's amazing. I commend you for that, because I mean, and as we go back to the reality of the matter, and if you're paying for an alternative reality, then cha-ching, that costs money.
Absolutely.
That costs money. So, in terms of the readers for your book, the reader, what is it? Is there something that you want the reader to evolve into when they're reading your book, especially someone who may be taking a project home and they're doing the transformations of this that way? What do you help them do? For the typical homeowner, what I wanted to do was give them an idea of all the things that can be done, even if you don't do them. A lot of things can be done with the right planning, and the right amount of detail going in to start with. And again, I go back to that, because if you have to change your mind or change the plan down the road, that could be a really difficult and expensive thing to do. And if you're using a general contractor, they might get very frustrated. They're going to charge you more money if they have to keep and stopping and changing things. If you have to reorder more materials or different materials. Oh man.
I want people to go into this knowing that there's a lot of things that are possible. If you have, and there's a lot of ways to do things right without breaking the bank. And that's really why I got into this book, is that, a lot of people, just want to, turn the keys over to a builder and say, go to it. My point of view is, this is your house, this is your money. And as an owner, even if you're using a contractor, you should play a major role in building a house or in building an addition. That maybe doesn't mean micromanage the contractor and tell them what to do all the time, but that means doing your own research, getting prices for materials and labor on your own, so that you can better educate yourself on what needs to be done, so that you can have a better estimate of what this project's going to cost going in, so that you can negotiate better prices with your own contractor. So the more knowledgeable a homeowner is going into this, the better off they're going to be. And there's, I talk a lot about the builder markup. And that's a lot of things that's something that a lot of homeowners just don't realize, is that to make a profit, builders mark up the price of their materials and so forth. And as a homeowner, if you're able to minimize those costs or control those costs, you could save a substantial amount of money that you can reinvest in the house and have a nicer house and do things that you maybe originally thought you would not be able to afford.
That's an amazing comment. I appreciate that. I mean, in terms of this, at the end of the day, most homeowners, they do think of the long-term benefit for the appreciated and benefited value of the home once the project is completed. Hopefully, at any endeavor, if you're talking about, an improved value on the value of the home because of this remodel, that's a win. That's a win.
It's a huge one. It's a huge financial consideration. You don't want to put, $300,000 into an addition and then only increase the value by $100,000 or not be able to get your money out of it when you go to sell it or refinance it or do whatever. If you're not concerned about the money or it's the house you're going to be in for another 40 years, that's a different story. But you don't want to put more money into the house than it's going to be worth when you're done.
Oh, absolutely. So something as typical as landscape. Is that something a part of the? I'm sorry, you probably should include.
Yeah, he does. He does. What I really like about the book is the way you've organized it, and especially about getting started, getting an estimate together, and then you've got sections for the basement, garage, foundation, masonry, framing, roofing, air conditioning. And so, and then painting and landscaping. That's chapter 21. So I think this is a really like a book anyone who's remodeling should get. So thank you so much, Joe, for
one more question though. This book, you're available on Amazon and all the other outlets to purchase the book.
Yes, it's available on Amazon. You can also order it from any bookstore. It's always great to support your local bookstores. So any bookstore can order this for you. Absolutely.
So they would research your book down to evaluate and come to your book as a concluding factor because you've included so many aspects of what they might want to consider in terms of remodeling. It's a one go-to book for just about anything you would think you'd like to do in your home.
That's absolutely right. And this could also be for somebody who already has a home and is just doing a certain section of renovations, as well as for new homeowners.
And all the photos in the book are actual construction photos. They're not stock photos. These were actual construction photos of the subject property that we worked on. There's chapters on finance and I approached it as every phase. I wrote a chapter for pretty much every phase of construction, from excavation to foundation to roofing, electrical, plumbing, and it kind of walks people through the different steps and phases. And yes, a lot of information in there about HVAC, heating and air conditioning, because there's a lot of options out there. And if you have an older house that we worked on like we did, you probably want to go a different route with heating and air conditioning than if you were building a brand new house. So I hope there's a little something in there for everybody.
Wow.
Yeah, so we're with Joe Oswald with his book, and get the book, guys. It'll save you tons of money, and it's great research, and it's just a great reference point that you can start your home repairs. And even if you're a new homeowner, then of course the entire book is great. I enjoyed reading it. The review is available online. Please subscribe to brightsideglobaltrade.org. Thank you for watching.
Thanks, Joe.
Thank you.